Get out of real estate now? Is that what they're telling you? I mean, I see the videos here. I see them everywhere. They just bubble this, crash that, collapse here. It's the end over there. Given what we're all witnessing with the economy, the politics, the foreign conflicts, getting out of real estate doesn't seem like unreasonable, misguided advice. I mean, I don't even have to mention that the market has been on a steady incline for a really long time, even excluding the last couple of years of ripping growth the market has experienced. I mean, we're well overdue for a serious correction. I mean, the whole housing market is coming down any second. Get out while you can. If that's what you believe, fine. But then what? Hold on to the cash in a safe somewhere? Tuck it under the mattress? Put it in your savings account? With 8.5% inflation, those are guaranteed losing strategies. And unless you're pulling 10% in the stock market, that's not a much better option, especially if we're going to be heading into a recession. So maybe you shouldn't get out of your real estate. Maybe you should buy more. There actually might not be a better time in history to do so. Crazy talk, right? I mean, I can only imagine what you might be thinking, but stay with me. I'll show you what I mean. And then you can make up your own mind on how you want to proceed forward. All right, let's go. Despite all of the economic doom and gloom, this just might be the best time in history to buy real estate. Why? Well, because it's literally the only shot the average person has got in creating any sort of wealth. It's an appreciating income-producing asset that fulfills a basic human need. And the emphasis being on the word need. Real estate, it's produced more wealth for more people than anything else on the planet. And most are starting to come around to that realization. I mean, this is hardly uncommon knowledge anymore. But why not at least wait for a better deal, right? I mean, one of real estate's basic tenets is to buy low and sell high. It's going to be on sale soon when the market crashes. This is a common sentiment. Well, I'm going to suggest right now that it's as good as it's going to get. And it's here where many people will disagree with me. And for all of those that do, rarely do I find that they have a solid reason to support their feelings as to why they think the market will crash. I mean, they point to things like, hey, it happened before, it's going to happen again. The housing market, it always moves in cycles. We're overdue for a crash. Or prices are too high, they can't go up forever. And then more recently, there's inflation. This thing is going to kill the economy and everyone's going to be hurting. Interest rates, they're rising. And then where are people going to get the money to keep on supporting these rising prices? What goes up must come down. Or you're an overly optimistic idiot, Matt. That one's my favorite. But those are the types of things I hear from my deniers all the time. And it's not that what they say isn't true. It's that they are incomplete truths. The naysayers, they reference only one side of the story. You've got to look at the complete picture, not just the parts that confirm your feelings. The truth is, we've got more people than houses. Households are flush with cash, and more people are becoming credit worthy. And there's a ton of pent-up demand waiting on the sidelines. Not to mention that there are more than enough investors ready to buy that can support prices for a very long time to come. Further, the wealthy non-investors are buying second and third homes. They're buying vacation homes. I mean, even the non-real estate investors are buying up property for short-term rental purposes. And they're all probably going to survive and thrive because we've got more people than houses. You see, whether those people buy houses or they rent them, they need a place to live. There is no housing bubble right now. We need more houses than people for that to be true. But we have the opposite. People, they hate me for saying it and think I'm some sort of, overly optimistic kook for saying that we're not gonna crash. They think I have some hidden agenda to push prices up. I'm not a realtor. I don't care if you buy houses. I actually prefer that you sell them. That's where my personal gains would come from, by buying what you sell. But I'm telling you to do the opposite. Just because the housing market has crashed before doesn't mean it has to crash again. I mean, what goes up must come down is what people say. I constantly hear and see it in the comments. And it sounds good. I mean, it might even be true more times than not, but it's not an immutable truth. Simply put, we've got more people walking this earth right now than we've got houses to shelter them. That's what's up. Unlike market cycles before, when demand was artificial, say due to booming economic times or low interest rates or lackadaisical lending practices, this time around, the demand is real. The people are real. They aren't artificial. And on the other side of that is that the supply is low, really low, and it's not being replenished fast enough. And what is being replenished are not your average buyer type homes. Because you see, with the rising costs of lumber, copper, cement, and really all building materials to varying degrees, and don't forget about wage inflation, in order for builders to make a profit, they have to build bigger, nicer homes. Materials and labor are just too expensive for it to be any other way. So I'm talking about upper middle class homes and luxury homes. Homes that are out of the price range of your first time and most second time home buyers. The balance of supply and demand is so lopsided that it's impossible for the cost of a house to fall in a free market. Now, with all of that said, we do have inflation and interest rates to consider. Something I've always mentioned being the big variables to housing prices. These two things could impact the actual prices of real estate, and substantially. You see, the prices may pull back a bit. They may even fall. They may even fall to a point that could be classified as a crash, to a point where you could say,
"See, Matt, I told you so. You totally got it wrong. The market crashed after all."
There very well may be a scenario for that where you think I've got egg on my face. But consider it won't make a difference to your ability to afford real estate. Here's what I mean. Let's say you qualified for a $2,000 per month payment. As of the recording of this, you'd qualify for approximately a $300,000 loan to where you could purchase a $400,000-ish house. A 2% increase in interest rates would raise your monthly payment to $2,400, to where you now don't qualify for that house. And the loan amount you do qualify for is pushed down to $250,000, approximately a $325,000-ish house. Smaller house, same payment. Now let's say though that the seller, they're going to work with you and they reduce the price so you could buy it. So sure, you saved $75,000 on the purchase, but your payment didn't change. The affordability didn't change. Despite the $75,000 drop in price, it's not any easier for you to afford. The price of the house may be cheaper, but it's not cheaper for you to buy. And until inflation is under control, if it even can get there, you're stretched financially in other necessary expenses in your life. So affording that house will not get any easier. And it's all of that combined that has me asking you just to consider that this may be the best time ever to buy real estate. It's as cheap from an affordability perspective, and that's all that really matters, as it's going to get. FOMOing into real estate is looking more and more like a winning strategy. I actually endorsed this approach more than 7 months ago. And so far, I'm not wrong. I mean, don't you wish you bought a house 7 months ago when I first said, FOMO your way into real estate? Well, what are you going to say 7 more months from now? Or much more importantly, 7 years from now? It remains to be seen. And we'll be able to refer back to this when that time passes, and we'll indeed take a look. But let's look at the bigger picture as to 5 reasons why you need to buy real estate, and sooner rather than later. First, the average property owner is 40 times wealthier than the average renter. Second, per the Department of Health and Human Services, 74% of the wealthy 1% created their wealth or preserve it in real estate. A good friend of mine used to be a financial planner, and he shared with me once, of all the families he sat down at the kitchen table to plan their financial future, he said the only people that ever stood a chance were those that owned real estate. Needless to say, he's a full-time real estate investor now. Third, real estate, it's the fastest path to financial freedom for the average person. And it's like this. You see, most people spend a lifetime of sacrifice to save their money, with the intent of creating a mountain of money so high that it eventually, via interest and dividends, produces a monthly income stream to live on. Real estate investors, they reverse this equation and focus on the stream first, and then they let the stream create the mountain. This is just a simple shift in priorities to attain the same outcome, yet it creates an entirely different timeline in its achievement. For most that take the traditional route and pursue the mountain first, it's a 40-year plan, if they actually make it. Per the Department of Health and Human Services, 95% don't. 95% still need their church, family, or state to survive. The real estate investor focus can be a 4-year plan for most people. It was just under 4 years for me. And for my private REI ACE clients, Parker, Josh, Corey, Mackenzie, they did it in half the time that I did. You see, real estate is not get rich quick. Just get rich a whole lot quicker. Fourth, it's a hedge against inflation, especially when you leverage debt to pay for it. You see, your tenants, they're going to be paying you more dollars in the future to pay back the dollars that you borrowed today. Oh, and then there's the appreciation. Housing and inflation, they've risen over the years in almost perfect synchronization, almost perfect, with real estate doing just a little bit better than inflation. Fifth, and this one's important, real estate, it's the best way for the average person to create wealth during good times. It's the only way to save yourself in the worst of times. You see, it'll never go to zero. So why don't more people invest in real estate then? Well, they don't know how, they don't have the support, they don't have the money, they don't have the time, all just different ways of saying that they're scared and they just don't know where to start. So if you've yet to make your first real estate investment, or it's been a while since you did your last, I put together a free training just for you at mattsfreetraining.com. Now, if you're ready to go all in and let my team do most of the heavy lifting for you, whether you're more of a hands-on or hands-off investor, there's a solution waiting for you at reiace.com. Answer a few questions when you get there, and then pick a time for us to hop on the phone to hammer out a game plan just for you. So what did you find most valuable? Let me know below. And who else do you know that needs to see this? When their name comes to mind, please share with them. Oh, and if you're already subscribed, I went ahead and I pulled this video out special for you to watch next. Otherwise, I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Take care.